Oh, hey, I'll be with you in a sec. Come on in.
Bro, check it out, bro. I just got a new Jewel pod. Check it out, it has Peaky Blinders on the cover. Bro, check it out. Got us some Smirnoff Red, White, and Berry. None of that tropical shit. Woo, America! Dude, Stacy, what do you say we ditch this John and head back to my dorm room? Yeah, I was on the high school cheer team. You telling me you wouldn't? Pussy. Dude, they don't even have craft lagers here, man. What else am I supposed to drink with my New York strip? Cheat day! Bro, check it out. I just cambered the fuck out of my Mazda Speed. If I go over a Pennsylvania pothole, bro, I'm screwed, haha. Need for Speed Heat, the official racing game of... Yeah, I don't really like racing games. Need for Speed as a series has been around since 1994, making it one of the longest, if not the longest standing racing game series of all time. It's been bounced around developers pretty much since its inception, with many people believing, me included, that the series peaked in the mid-2000s, with the Underground series and with Most Wanted. Oh, Most Wanted. I shudder at the thought. But now in 2021, there really are only two racing games left if you want the arcade street racing scene. Need for Speed and Forza Horizon. Need for Speed has really fallen out of the spotlight since around 2010 for some reason. I mean, it's like their games were good, right? Right? Nah, most of these were dog shit, so EA has really been left with their head scratching on what to do with this walking corpse of a franchise. Why am I telling you this? Because Need for Speed Heat came out in late 2019, and Ghost Games had a lot to do. Not only to compete with Forza, which is a really good game, by the way, it had to pick the whole franchise up by the scruff and keep it going. So how did they do? We're gonna come back to that, by the way. First off, let's talk about the game aesthetics, because racing games for some reason end up being pioneers in the graphics department. I know I say that a little sarcastically, but this game looks really fucking good for real. In fact, driving at night with the rain, this is honestly one of the best looking games I've ever played. The graphics itself are nice, but then it really amps up the looks by adding in lots of neon blues and bright street lights, and boy, it actually looks so good. I've honestly spent serious nights just driving around the city, just enjoying the scenery. Daytime looks okay. When you're moving, it looks just like any other racing game, but if you slow down a bit, you start to see weird textures. But really, those aren't meant to be seen. The cars look good, but they look a little cartoony compared to Forza or Gran Turismo, but that's to be expected. It's a pure-blood street racing game, after all. You don't make fun of Paul Walker for driving ridiculous-looking cars in Fast and Furious, so you don't do it here. Instead, you make fun of Paul Walker for other deep-rooted reasons. The driving mechanics are beyond wild, and that's really how it should be. You don't have to worry about being precise, you don't have to worry about driving lines, you just have to floor it as hard as you can into any corner you wish so you can do the old turn left to go right. Low stress, but at the same time, lots of fun. Really, are you expecting anything more from the street racing game? That low barrier to entry driving brings in the people I made fun of earlier, but if we're being honest, it's a really niche market of players that are looking for games like this. They used to be a dime a dozen back in the mid-2000s, as with other series like Burnout and Tokyo Extreme Racer. In 2021, we can go on Steam and pick up half a dozen different sim racers if we so desired, but as soon as you look for something arcadey, it's car racers or nothing! I have so much fun driving here, I just want more games like this, and I'm sure a lot of other people do too. They do a cool idea with the drifting in the game. You get a choice between what they call gas drifting or brake drifting. Brake drifting is traditional drifting in most racing games. Hit the e-brake button when you go into a turn, and you drift. Gas drifting is something new. I think it was in the other NFS games, but it's set to default in Heat, so I tried it out. Instead of hitting the e-brake, you just let off the gas for a second, and then repress after, and your car goes into a drift. It was kind of clunky at first, but you kind of get used to it. In fact, I kind of prefer it now to brake drifting. It helps you keep your momentum, and it's easy to control when you master it. It's a neat little mechanic. I hope more racing games of the sort try it out. The story is nothing special, but I still think that's worth mentioning. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but hey, at least it has a story. It really is just there to guide you along your car progression, which I actually really like. Upgrading your car is a must in a street racing game. Cars should actually have some value. Other than that, the story is just Fast and the Furious. The old stuff, not the Idris Elba cyber terrorism shit. Also, Johnny Cruz literally just plays himself. It's silly, and just enough for Ludacris's acting career to turn in its grave. Need for Speed Heat. The official racing game of putting the hot sauce you got from that funny YouTube show on your scrambled eggs. Heat does a lot of shit right, and I could go on and on, but it has one Achilles heel. And by Achilles heel, I mean one Achilles fucking femur. The story is about 12 hours, depends on how much you race in between, but you can finish it as quick as 9. Then after that, there's no endgame. That's not an exaggeration. There is no endgame. Couple things with this. Number one, there's literally no reason for this. For the entire story, Anna tells you about the League and how it's the top echelon of street racers. The whole story revolves around you winning races to gain reputation to join this league. Then this whole issue with Officer Assclown arises. You resolve it, get the cool Most Wanted M3, then all of a sudden nothing. Literally nothing. No league. You get some races with faster cars, you got collectibles, you got some DLC packs, and then updates stopped coming after 6 months. After that, no nothing. There is so much opportunity for endgame content. It just plain old isn't there. Now, okay, that's not terrible. You can easily get 20 or 30 hours of content out of this, which if you get it on sale, that ain't bad. But then compare this to problem number 2. Its direct competitor, Forza, who has been putting out monthly updates and weekly missions since its release about a year before this game came out. There is absolutely no excuse. If you want a racing game worth your money, you'd be an absolute nutcase to pick up NFS over Forza. If NFS had the similar games as a service model that Forza is rocking, then this would be no question. But because of this, I can't recommend this game over Forza under really any circumstances. Despite this, NFS Heat is still the best NFS game they've released in a decade. And I played it for the first time a few months after it came out, and I really loved it. Even though I have a major problem with the amount of content in the game, I saw it as a good restart, and there's a lot they can do to improve with the next few games. So naturally, I was really excited for another one. But then it was announced that Ghost Games was rebranded back to EA Gothenburg, and then they're sent to work on the Frostbite engine. And then Criterion Games are put on the NFS series. And I've never wanted to throw up from someone else's terrible decision before until now. Jesus Christ, what? You finally nail an NFS game. It sells well, it gets good reception, and the first thing you do is rebrand the studio to patch up your own shitty engine, and then you give it to Criterion? Who hasn't made anything worth a good goddamn since Burnout 3? We finally had a good game, and then you hand it off to these chumps? I mean, maybe I shouldn't be so mean, but man, I'm just real fucking disappointed. It's like trying to fall asleep mid-juror hoping you have sexy dreams, but instead you get the one with Britney again. Need for Speed Heat. The official racing game of putting bullet shell face buttons on your Xbox 360 controller. Now, it's only recently I've been getting back into cars. COVID reared its ugly head last spring, so now I was forcefully kept indoors, instead of voluntarily staying indoors like I normally do. Now with less work and school hours, I started diving back into old hobbies, one of which being cars, and I've been a bit obsessed ever since. And of course, my ADD-infected brain wanted to consume as much car content as possible. This, of course, meant listening to Doug DeMuro videos on repeat for hours and buying a PlayStation 2 again, just to play through all those perfect PS2 racing games. NFS Most Wanted, NFS Underground, Burnout 3, and I loved all of them. And I've been playing through a lot of the modern stuff now, and as much as I play Forza and really enjoy Forza, I would recommend Forza Horizon 4 over pretty much any game in the genre right now, especially for casual players. You can make an argument that Forza is either on the same level or significantly better than NFS in pretty much any comparable volume. Yet at the same time, I think about NFS so much more than I think about Forza. Maybe it's nostalgia, which... yeah, probably. But I think NFS is a much better representation of car culture and what it represents. Cars are, by their very nature, an extension of the one behind the wheel. They are an expression of the driver. NFS captures this perfectly, because Ghost Games put so much emphasis on the customization in this game, something that no other racing game has gotten quite as right as this one. First off, the variety of cars is just right. Sure, it ain't perfect. I mean, Forza has some 7 times the options NFS brings, but in Heat, the cars are all unique from each other. Customization is so easy. Either the wraps of the cars, the body kits, and accessories you can put on the car. Cars, even before you buy them, have a customization rating out of 10. So if you're the type of player who loves to trick out their cars, you know beforehand the car's custom potential. You can change the car's stance, glow, the horn, and if you're not that creatively talented like me, you can find thousands of community custom wraps online. And you can easily edit wrap designs if you want to change a color or add a sticker or something. Most importantly, the sound design and engine note is unique in each car. This is a lot more important than people realize. A well-informed car nerd can figure out the exact brand, cylinder count, and engine displacement from the engine note. So if you cut corners here, the fans are going to notice. Ghost Games did a great job here. Something small here, but it's still worth mentioning, is the character customization. More importantly, the clothes aspect, because it's all notable brands and proper streetwear. It's not generic and it looks damn good. Also, it's really funny to see you completely change your character's race and gender in the middle of the story and no one even questions it. Okay, I should probably wrap up. Here, let me be goddamn clear, because I've praised this game and dogged on this game for how long now? I really like NFS, and I really like NFS Heat. And good lord, I just want these games to be good. There was a chance for future NFS games to learn a great deal from this, but I really have my doubts with Criterion. But hey, I don't know, maybe they'll surprise me. They certainly have a lot of catching up to do. And hey, maybe by the next one, maybe we'll get the C8.
Wait, Forza
Forza already added the C8.